Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation reads like this. Hello Brother Nashi, can you please post my story as hidden identity? I am a woman who is aged 44 years old. I am currently staying here in Zimbabwe. Brother Nashi, the reason why I have came to you with this story of mine, it is because can you try and look for someone who can assist me? If that person is here in Zim, I'll be so happy so that you can assist me. My story goes on like this. As a woman, me and my husband and the rest of my family, we all grew up going to the white garment churches. Even my own parents, they go to those white garment churches. So we are used to the dealings of the white garment churches. There was a time when me and my husband then started having our own little business. And what we used to do is that we would travel all the way going to Musina. Once we were in Musina, we would buy the clothes from the Chinese shops. Then we would travel back to Zim so as to resell the clothes. What we used to do is that sometimes we would go to those villages, and in the villages, some of the people didn't have the actual money to pay us in cash. So we used to exchange the clothes that we had with either maize grains or the groundnuts. Then we will resell the maize grain and the groundnuts that we would have gotten from the villages. So my brother, our business succeeded so much that we actually ended up buying our own very small truck, even though it was a second-hand truck. After we had gotten our second-hand truck, what we used to do is that my husband would travel to the capital city of our country, and he would go and buy some second-hand clothes. These clothes, they were coming from Zambia or from Mozambique, some of them as far as Tanzania. So most of these clothes, it will be the clothes that would have been gotten in Dubai or in the United Kingdom or China. After we had gotten these bales of clothes, then we would resell those bales of clothes to different villages. That was the way that we used to operate in our business. In the first year, when we started operating this kind of a business, we got a lot of money, so much that we managed to purchase a piece of land, and on that piece of land, Brother Nashi, we wanted to open up our own grocery store there in the village from where we come from. Then we even managed to buy a few head of cattle. Then after that, that was when there was this other great prophet of God. This prophet of God, he was also from the white garment church. He used to worship in the same church that me and my husband grew up in. But this man, after he had become that great prophet of God, then we heard that he had opened up his own church. So me and my husband, we then decided to follow after this great prophet of God, because even though I do not want to mention his name, he used to even appear on the radio. For my own safety, I am even afraid to mention the name of his church and on which radio channel that he used to appear on. And whenever he would appear on the radio, he kept on saying that he knew how to perform miracles, and a lot of people were now attending his church. From the village from where me and my husband were staying, going to that man's village, it is about 200 kilometers. But as for me and my husband, since we now had the means of transportation, we didn't even care about the long distance. So we used to travel for that 200 kilometers so as to go and to attend the church that had been opened up by that great prophet of God. This is what he used to call himself, the great prophet of God. And from the time that we started attending his church, that man, he had pointed at my husband with his walking stick, and he had told my husband that he had seen such a great future for him, but there were some prayers that were needed to be done so that this great future that he had been shown to him in the vision can become reality in this physical world. That was how he gave my husband the prophecy. So as for me, my own prophecy that was given to me was very different from the prophecy that he had given to my husband. And the way that this prophet gave me this prophecy, it was after church. So we were preparing ourselves so that we can start the long journey coming back to our village. That was when he came across me and he said, I have been shown in the spirit, and God has revealed to me that there is a prayer that you are supposed to perform. So he told me that I was supposed to buy a red fabric, a long one. He said that this red fabric that I was supposed to buy, it should be 12 meters long. Each and every meter will be the representation of the angels that led the children of Israel when they were coming out of Egypt, going to the land that God had promised them. That man said that when we will be using that red cloth, we will be getting into communication with those angels that once led the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, going into the promised land. So I went and I bought that red fabric cloth, 12 meters in length, and this I did it in secret because he said that we had to perform this secret without the knowledge of my husband, my children, or any of my family members. Otherwise, the prayers will then be attacked by the evil spirits that had been following my family for a very, very long time. That prophet said that my family and those that had came before me, they had been living in a spiritual Egypt, and God had chosen me to lead my family out of that spiritual Egypt, going into the promised land. But God could not do this on his own, because these days God uses his angels. So I was going to be assisted by these 12 angels that were going to lead me out of the spiritual Egypt, going into the promised land. And once I'll be in the promised land, then I'll become a very wealthy woman, and my husband, because of the blessings that God wanted to give me, was going to become a wealthy man as well for my sake. So after I had bought that red fabric that was 12 meters long, he had told me that I was supposed to buy this other plate that is made out of clay that is mostly used in the white garment churches, and I then returned with those items back to him. This, my brother, I did without the knowledge of my husband. I just lied to my husband that there was this other place that I wanted to go and sell some of my stuff. Since me and my husband, we were both business people, in our marriage, there was no one who suspected that the other party was busy cheating. We were always chasing after money. So my husband, without asking me a lot of questions, he let me go. Then I drove all the way, going back to that place where that prophet had started his church. When I had arrived at his church, I then took out the items that I had, and I handed over the items to one of his assistants. So the items that I had was that red fabric cloth that was 12 meters long and that clay plate. Then that man told me that I had to rest for the night because I had arrived at his house late in the evening. So I rested, waiting for the morning. When the morning came, then we started doing the prayers, and this is the way that we did the prayers, Brother Nashi. That man told me that I was supposed to write my name on a piece of paper, and after I had written my name on a piece of paper, I then placed that piece of paper that had my name written on it inside that clay plate that I had bought. And he told me that I was supposed to write my name, my surname, and my totem or my clan name. After I had placed that piece of paper into that clay plate, then that man gave me 4 sticks. So these 4 sticks that he gave to me, he had told me that he had already prayed over those 4 sticks so that everything that I was going to say once we had finished the prayers, it was going to work. He told me that we were supposed to go into the bushes. Then he selected this other tree. In our country, it is called a muhacha tree. I stood underneath that muacha tree. Then some women that worshipped at that same church, then they wrapped that red fabric that was 12 meter long around my body. Then they continued praying over my life. That man, he was holding a hammer in his other hand. Then he asked me to give him those 4 sticks that he had placed some prayers on them. After I had given him those 4 sticks, then he made those 4 sticks to look as if they were a cross, and I was standing in the middle of the cross. Then more prayers were said, and he told me that I was supposed to be taken to a holy river. We went to that river where he used to baptize most of the people that were attending his new church. Whilst we were at that river, that was when he summoned those 12 angels that were going to come and take me out of the spiritual Egypt, so that me and my husband can become wealthy people. After the prayers were done, I was so happy. I drove back home to my husband, even though I didn't tell him of these prayers that had been done in my name. All that I wanted to become, my brother Nashi, was to be a wealthy woman. 2 months after these prayers had been said upon my life, I had a dream, and in that dream, I saw 12 men that were coming to collect me, but where they wanted to go with me, I do not even know, Brother Nashi. But what I can say is that all of these men, they were wearing black clothes, and I asked them, what kind of angels are you that wear black clothes? But none of them ever spoke with me. They kept on dragging me to a mountain that I could not even recognize. After that, my business then started going down. When my husband traveled to the capital city as usual to purchase some of the stock that we used to sell, then he had a car accident and he died in that accident. So as per our culture, whenever there is death in the family, then the relatives of the deceased are supposed to go around so that they can consult with either a prophet or a traditional healer, so that they can know what took the life of their relative. That was when my husband's relatives were told that I was the one who was responsible for my husband's death. This is the situation that I am facing right now, Brother Nashi. Everyone is saying that I am a ritualist, but all that I know is that I was given these prayers, and these prayers, when they were given to me, they were supposed to make me a wealthy woman. But everyone just thinks that when I went to that prophet to receive these prayers, then I asked him to give me some blood making rituals, because the traditional healer whom was visited by my husband's relatives, that is what he said. He said that when I went to get these prayers, I knew what I was doing, and I was the one who was responsible for the death of my husband. And these rituals that I did, they will require the blood of my children and the blood of my relatives. And none of my relatives right now even wants to speak with me. They think that I am on a mission to sacrifice everyone in the family. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received, and we had to try and translate it. Strange things do happen in this world.